My name is Emily Carter, and for as long as I can remember, I've always been someone who dreamed beyond the four walls I lived in. I grew up in a tiny town in Ohio, in a modest two-bedroom house with my mom and younger sister, Hannah. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and for most of my childhood, that was enough. But when I turned 16, I started to notice things that didn't bother me before. My bedroom was small, barely enough for a twin bed, a dresser, and a little desk where I tried to finish my homework. The walls were painted pale yellow, chipped at the corners, and the one window faced the neighbor's garage. At night, when I tried to sleep, I could hear the whirring of their air conditioning unit, reminding me of how little privacy I had. As a teenager, my small room didn't feel like a cozy space anymore. It felt like a cage. My dreams were bigger than my surroundings. I wanted to paint, to write, to practice music, but every time I tried, I felt the walls closing in on me. My sister would tease me about how dramatic I was, but she didn't understand that I wanted more than just physical space. I wanted room to grow, room to breathe, room to discover who I was. After high school, I was determined to go to college far away. I worked part-time at a diner, saving every penny I could. My mom was proud of me, though she worried constantly. She reminded me that not everyone got the chance to leave their small town, and if I did, I needed to make it count. When I got accepted into a state university 3 hours away, I cried tears of relief. Finally, I thought, I'd have space. But life doesn't always work out the way you plan. My dorm room was even smaller than the bedroom I grew up in. I shared it with a stranger, Kayla, who turned out to be messy and loud. Clothes piled up on her side of the room, and she often brought friends over late at night when I was trying to study. I couldn't complain, she had every right to the room too. But deep down, I realized it wasn't just about the size of the room anymore. The issue was deeper. One evening, after Kayla invited half of the dorm to hang out in our tiny space, I escaped to the library. I sat there, my books open but unread, and I thought about why I always felt trapped. Maybe it wasn't just about my room being too small. Maybe it was about me. I started journaling that night. Every thought, every frustration, every dream I couldn't fit into my real world, I put on paper. The pages became my bigger room, the place where I could stretch out without limits. Slowly, I began to feel lighter. Sophomore year, I moved into an off-campus apartment with 2 other girls. The rent was steep, and the space was still tight, but it felt like progress. I decorated my corner with fairy lights and posters, and I bought a small second-hand keyboard. Whenever I felt suffocated, I'd play music or write stories until I forgot about the walls. By junior year, something clicked. I realized my small spaces taught me resilience. They forced me to create internal room when physical room wasn't available. I learned to carve out moments for myself, walking to the park, sitting by the lake, or even just putting on headphones to tune out the noise. It wasn't until after graduation, when I landed my first job in marketing, that I finally got my own studio apartment. It was still small, just one open space with a kitchenette and bathroom, but it was mine. For the first time, I arranged my furniture exactly how I wanted. I painted the walls soft blue, added plants by the window, and filled the shelves with books. It wasn't a mansion, but it was a reflection of me. One night, as I sat on my couch sipping tea, I realized something important. My small room had always been enough because it shaped me. It taught me patience, creativity, and the power of imagining more. The truth is, a room doesn't define you. What you create inside it does. I still dream of having a bigger house one day, maybe even a studio where I can paint and play music without worrying about space. But now I know that no matter the size of the walls around me, my spirit is bigger. I've outgrown the idea that I need more to be enough. Because I already am enough. And maybe, just maybe, my small room was always more than enough because it made me who I am today.